The lesson I prepared today is a continuation of the lesson I taught a couple of weeks ago, Introduction to Walking. This is significantly more advanced and more challenging. So I just want to prepare you. This may need some time and may need to be broken down into a few little segments for you to figure this out. This is a lot, okay? So with that in mind, you may join me in this, but again, please feel free to stop and rest or stop the video and come back to it when you're ready, okay? We're going to begin with parallel feet again. And as we did before in the lesson before, just to sort of remind you where we were at, we're shifting the weight left and right, parallel feet, shoulder width roughly, and gradually taking the movement of the head out of this process. So the head comes to the center more and more. You're shifting your weight. You're more on the heels than the front of the foot. So after you came back to this and you feel that you can continue, please begin to shift your weight into one foot. Stay on that foot. So you're standing on one foot and on one leg. The leg is long. The knee is not bent. Okay? And your entire weight is on, or most of the weight, if not entirely, is on the heel of the right foot. And you lift the front of the left foot, keep the heel down, but there's no weight there, and you begin to turn it to the left and back to the center. And this is a very peculiar way of moving. I lift the front of the left foot and I turn it together with everything else. My entire body, except for the right leg, rotates to the left. So the challenge is to have no differentiation. This is like a statue. Everything moves together as one piece. And if you like to put your hands on yourself to have a sense of are you able to do this or not. And as you repeat this movement for a while, you begin to notice what allows for that rotation if the entire body moves as one piece. You may notice when you do this that when you stand on one heel, there's a little bit of leaning back, right? And as you rotate everything, there's a little bit of an angle going back. But this angle is not achieved by you leaning back, right? This angle is achieved by the simple rotation or with the constraint of not changing anything in the rest of yourself. Okay, that's a very clear constraint. So you shift your weight into the right, you're on the right heel, the rest of the foot is resting on the floor, and you are lifting the left foot, no weight in the left heel, but it's touching the floor, and you rotate everything. This is the first practice. How do you get to do this? And where do you feel the rotation? So the rotation, of course, happens in the right hip joint. But it's okay for you to go through the process of searching for it and finding it, okay? And this may take a while. A few things you need to do to get there. The first of which is breathing, okay? So once again, if you slow it down enough, you inhale on the right heel, and as you move, you exhale. You pause for a sec, you inhale, and as you begin to move, you exhale. Once again, see if you can feel that slight tilt backwards without leaning back, because once again, your entire self is made of one piece, one semi-rigid piece. After you do this for a while and you begin to feel a little bit more secure with this, take a little walk, lie down on the floor or on a mat, sense the differences, come back and do it on the left leg, okay? And once you figured out how to do it on the left leg and you begin to sense the differences between how you do it left and right, you rest again and come back to standing again. And this time, stand with parallel feet. Shift your weight to one side, lift the foot, rotate, come back, place the foot down, shift your weight, lift the foot, rotate to the other side, come back, place the foot down, shift your weight, lift the foot. Go slow. There's nothing to be gained by speed, and you can actually do this much slower than me. If you feel strain in the chest, in the back of the neck, in your face, in the hip joint, come back to it, rest, come back to it until you're able to break it down and have less of that. The next step is beginning to be very, very challenging. So just prepare yourself. If you need to take a break to come back to the lesson at a different time, that's not a bad idea. This is a lot. I'm pushing a lot into one lesson. And I'm going through it relatively quickly, much faster than it should be taught. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Take good care of yourself, rest often, maybe even let this lesson build over a couple days. Okay, so the next movement is you go into the right side, you stand on the right heel, you lift the front of the left foot, no weight on the left heel. You rotate a couple times and then you leave it there. And you begin to only turn the leg back. Nothing else turns back to the front. Now you don't need to go all the way to the front. And if you really scrutinize the way I'm moving, you will see that I'm making many, many small mistakes. Why? Because it's a process. This is not about doing it perfectly, right? I'm demonstrating, but I'm not demonstrating a correct way of doing it. I'm demonstrating where I'm at right now after having done the lesson a few times, but not enough times to call it perfect. Maybe it will never be perfect. Can you feel that it's only the leg, that the pelvis stays there, that your torso, shoulders, head stay there? This is variation number 1, right? Variation number 2 would be to do the same thing, but rotate just the pelvis. So you leave the leg behind, and you only rotate the pelvis back and forth. As Moshe Feldenkrais likes to call it, from this front to this front. Because if you think about it, what is front? Is front only the place you look at? Is it the place your shoulders are aimed towards? Is it where your pelvis is aimed towards, right? So this goes on. We start with the leg, we continue with the pelvis. The next combination is pelvis and leg together, right? And once again, you may lie down on the floor, you may take a walk, you may sit and rest every once in a while, okay? So the next combination, again, parallel feet, shifting of the weight to the right, being on the heel, turning the whole body to the left, staying there, and rotating the pelvis and the leg together to the front. So I'm feeling that some of this movement goes into my shoulders. A slight movement. Maybe I could do a smaller movement. Maybe I can go slower. So both smaller and slower. After this combination comes the shoulders. And the shoulders are challenging, of course, like everything else in this lesson. Once again, standing on the right heel, turning to the new front, and bringing the shoulders to the old front. Go very, very slow. This is very, very challenging. A lot of inhibition of movements. And I notice, by the way, that when I'm doing this, I unintentionally am turning my head a little bit to the left to keep it where it is. And then I have a moment where it's a little better, and I'm actually leaving my head behind rather than turning it to the left. Right? Another version of the shoulders turning to the right is doing the exact same thing, but folding the arms. And you'll see what the difference is like. It's a very, very interesting difference. The final combination, or one before last, is to shift the weight into the right, and except for the head staying here, everything else moves to the old front, to the new front. This is very, very, very challenging. I'm not even close. This is always the part of the lesson that really gets to me, is how to turn everything but keep the head there. And the sense that the head is floating up can really help so we don't feel the compression in the spine and neck. And the final combination is moving the head and the rest of yourself, losing my balance, and the rest of yourself in opposite directions. So, okay? A lot compressed into one little lesson. Please remember, this is very challenging. If you need to, have a chair next to you, have a soft hand on the chair for balance if you're struggling with balance. And in any case, please do remember, this is a lot. This lesson is a lot. Build it slowly, do only what you can. At the end of the lesson, you come back to this shift from side to side, okay? So, parallel feet, you shift your weight, you come back, place the foot down, shift the weight. How much easier is it to do this now? And once again, slowing down is always a good idea. All right. Try it, play with it, share with me your thoughts, share your comments online, and I will see you again next week. Take care.